Hello, 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 Facebook family. How are you? You're in for a treat tonight. Welcome, welcome, welcome to season and beyond. Enjoying life to the brim. Guys, I have an author here tonight that I am here to tell you that her book is awesome, awesome, awesome. I was telling her just a few minutes ago when I went to Phoenix, Arizona a few weeks ago, and on the flight, I read her book, see all of my papers in here, that it is really awesome, unapologetically resilient. And as you know, guys, I'm always talking about that, being unapologetic about who you are, where you came from, and what where you came from to what brought you where you are now today, and not letting that past deter what God would desire for you to have. And basically, this is what she's saying in this book. I'm tending to say that she took some stuff from me, and I need to get a profit from this book, but but I know that's not so. But I'm telling you, it is really good, and she truly exposed herself. And you know, a lot of people want to expose themselves and not understanding that being vulnerable is a strength. It is not a weakness. A lot of people think that being vulnerable weakens you, but it is a strength. It's just like the word of God says that these trials come, to make us strong, right? And the trials that we go through, they're not for us to be ashamed of that we went through them. And the reason that we went through them for a reason, right? And we need to realize that so we could begin to build our resilience from the things of the past that has messed us up in some kind of way, right? But there are ways that we can get through that, and that's what she was talking about in her book. And a lot of things in here I could identify, with her on this. And I know for a fact that some things that she wrote about in here can really turn you the other way, right? But it turned her in a positive direction to tell the world about it, let them know that you can do the same thing also. And I'm gonna surprise. I'm gonna let her come on, and I'm gonna let her introduce herself, and begin. We're gonna begin to talk about this book. It has 10 chapters in it, and we're gonna just talk. We're just gonna tap and talk about it. And if I'm not mistaken, I think she's on a book tour. She already did a book signing, and we're gonna just go into it and just have a good time, guys. We're gonna have a very good time with this book. Okay. All righty.
Thank you so much, Diane, for having me. It's just an honor. I really appreciate this. Unapologetically resilient is it's my baby. But first, let me introduce myself. I'm a licensed clinician, a trauma expert, a mind shift coach, and I've been in the mental health field, the healing field for over 10 years. Yes, in almost every capacity. Yeah. So I started like literally as an AP, then a qualified professional, then a supervisor, and I worked with military people that suffer from PTSD. And I've worked with like families and children that were in juvenile detention and seeking treatment. So I've worked with like in every capacity of the mental health field almost. But yeah, I just love what I do, and I'm a new author, and I love. I just love
Yes.
this book. Yes, yeah. So
Yes.
resiliency is, oh my god, I didn't come up with the title till like literally the very end of the book, and like you know what, this is exactly what I am. I'm unapologetically resilient, and it's that muscle that we build through adversities. I went through so much, and I just really wanted to share my story and hopefully inspire many other people. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you didn't say your name.
Lorene LeBlanc, Dr. Lorene LeBlanc White.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
So what I want to do, I just want to, I don't want to do a whole lot of talking. I want you to do some talking so you can, tell us about your book, y'all see it, Unapologetically Resilient, guys. And it's also on the ad on the beginning of this show, right? But what I want to ask you about, the main thing is that, you were so clear and was so like, I'm just going to keep using unapologetically,
Yes.
speaking your truth, right? And in this first chapter, it talks about trauma, your brain, your thoughts, your action, right?
Yes. Yes.
And a lot of times people just can't get those things together. Once you have gone through a trauma, right? Action doesn't come.
Right.
If there's any action, it's a negative action, that takes place, after trauma, right? But
Yeah.
you were able to, like, turn that thing around. I mean, I'm not saying that it was an overnight thing, because
Right.
when we go
Right.
through certain things, it's not an overnight thing. It takes time for us to absorb it, for us to be able to, be healed from it, and then step out to be able to help someone else. But in this first chapter, what made you bring all those words together? Trauma, your brain, trauma, colon, your brain, your thoughts, your action. What made that come together?
You know what? Through my life practice, and actually, I felt like I unraveled myself through my journey, like in learning psychology. Like I understood myself. Like I was able to put the pieces together, literally counseling myself and understanding like why was I so delayed growing up? Like why was I so stuck at that 4 year old? When I went through that sexual abuse, I was literally stuck there for a really long time.
Mhm.
Um, and it took a long time for me to understand and get out of that. A lot of times when with the way things happen, like when we are in a traumatic state, if we aren't getting the proper treatment that we need, counseling or of healing for some sort, we are literally traumatized and acting that age, and that is what I was struggling with. And a lot of people don't know how to correlate the brain with trauma. The hippocampus region is where, we have our emotions, and the amygdala is where we have our memory. And if we don't get that intact, we start to have that anxiety. I struggled with anxiety for a really long time. And I didn't, and when I, once I was able to find a link between what was going on with me, which was my traumatic experiences, I was able to get a hold of my anxiety. So yes.
Yeah, so it brought out, so it took action. It took
Yes.
action to be able to come through the trauma. And not only that, of course, like you said in the beginning, your brain had to catch up with it.
Yeah, I
You
had to
had
catch
to
up
catch
with.
up with it.
Right, 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 right.
Yeah. And then the action came forth. But okay, but your thoughts. Okay. Tell me a little bit about your thoughts.
Oh my goodness. So just, oh gosh, in every angle I had to struggle. I struggled with the views about myself, what I thought about others. See, the trauma skewed the way that I like skewed my ideology. It skewed my worldview. It skewed the way I looked at relationships, the way I viewed myself. So once I was able to figure out why I had these negative thoughts, why like the associations were there, I was able to get a better hold of myself and of my anxiety. But yes, our thoughts, we have to reframe those negative thoughts. And a lot of times when we're in a traumatic state, it teaches us that we're nothing. It teaches us that we're not worthy of love. It teaches us that we're not worthy of success. And that you almost want to fall down to like, you almost want to submit to failure in that
Mhm.
instance because you just feel like you're not worthwhile. Like why did I go through so many things? Why are so many other people going through this? But then of course later in life you realize that so many other people have experienced what you have experienced. So yes, I just had to learn how to reframe those negative thoughts, and sometimes it's constant. Even as an adult, I'm reframing negative thoughts, and but I get like this because I've done so much practice in that area. So yes, it's an ongoing ongoing thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I like what you bringing up the fact of that you're not the only one.
Right.
I was telling somebody on my Monday show about when I was doing my chaplaincy residency. We had to do a theology reflection,
Yeah.
and I wrote a little statement in there where I thought that I was unique, right? And
Uh-huh.
and then they said and I made it in a way that I said it in a way that was that's why I'm an introvert. That's why I feel the way I do, and all that stuff. And so what they did, they just looked at me and they said, "Oh, so you think you're the only unique person? You think you're the only one that's unique in this world? You think the things that you went through in life is only unique to you, right?"
Mhm.
And you saying that, I remember reading in here where you said that when you had talked about your abuse, that somebody grabbed a hold of to you up to you and said, thank you, because they had experienced that same
Same
thing.
thing.
So we carry things with us, not realizing because of the way we're thinking, because we're still stuck back there, that we're the only ones that have went through that. So we think that it's something that we have to keep in a treasure box and don't
Right.
let nobody else know about it. We take it to us to the rest of our life. But the thing about it is that when we open that box up, it helps other people.
It helps other people. I was in a women's conference,
Yeah,
And
that's
I
right.
just decided to share. And the amount of people that were like, I went through this, I went through this. And you know what? They didn't look like they went through anything. So I'm walking around with a chip on my shoulder, like, why? And it was just like the hardest thing, like, why did I go through this? Not realizing that so many other people had, like, literally one, I think it's 1 out of 7 women have experienced sexual trauma, sexual abuse, domestic violence. I mean, it's just so, it's, the numbers are just astronomical, but a lot of people aren't, sharing because of the fear of, shame, the shame that they hold about it. And also we have this with in our culture, this, don't tell your business. Don't tell people your business. Keep
Yep,
family things within the family.
yep.
And I mean, it's literally damaging when we keep everything inside. It is really damaging. So yeah.
And it is. And Brene Brown said that, those things that you hold, and I'm just paraphrasing, you're familiar with Brene Brown because you in that field, that, exposing those things that you have, again, I'm just repeating, I'm just adding an author to this, that allows the door to open, to other people's trauma that they're going through,
Mhm.
and release them towards their vulnerability also, to
Right.
give them that free path,
Right.
to be able to talk about, of saying, that you're going to place me in this category now. In other words, I'm just paraphrasing what she said. You're going to place me in this category now. No, be unapologetic about it and
Yes.
learn,
Yes.
from it, and continue to be resilient from that. But yeah, but you do find out that you're not the only one that's going through the trauma that
Yeah.
you're going through. And the most important thing is to bring it out now, because we, as we're talking right now, Lorraine, somebody is going through that
Yes.
same thing.
Yes. Yep. I decided to turn my pain into purpose. Like, turn my pain into purpose, your purpose into, I mean, profit, the 3 P's,
Yeah.
but, and that's not originally what I seeked out to do. I said, I just really, really wanted to put down on paper because, like, I was just really listening to God because it took a lot for me to write down that type of, I mean, it was hard to be that raw.
I know.
I was like, oh my gosh, like there were some things I was like, should I erase it? But yeah, I knew that being obedient to God, I was doing His work and fulfilling the purpose that, and I feel like this is my purpose. And also in that, I know that if I haven't gone through all the things that I've gone through, I want to help as many people as I'm helping, right? Because people don't want to listen to someone that hasn't gone through anything. they want
That's
to,
the
they,
thing.
they want help from somebody that's been through it. So I've been through it and I've came on the other side, so I can help you, through
Yeah.
the other side of this. Yes.
Yep, and that's important. That, a lot of people. I can't tell you about being a drug addict because I'm not a drug addict. I've never
Right.
experienced that.
Right.
I can't tell you nothing about how to come out of being an alcoholic. I haven't experienced that.
Mhm.
Now, addiction in general. I was addicted to peppermint candy. But what is that? I mean, that's not nothing big, compared to what someone else has gone through to be able to bring them out of that traumatic thing. I think alcoholism and drug addiction, I think that's traumatic,
Yeah.
because where it leads you,
Yes.
where it leads a lot of people, right? And then abuse is just, just right in that category, right? So I think that it's best to come from someone that has experienced it, instead of just being book smart about it, because you can be book
Right.
smart about it, but you can't be like touchable. You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yeah. You can't.
And it makes a difference to
Right.
someone like that that's been through it. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
No, I feel like no, you're absolutely right. I feel like you can't truly put yourself in their shoes if you haven't really walked that walk, right? So
Right.
it's just, the more I've grown into it, the more I was like, you know what? The more things I've been through, the more that I have been able to reach people, reach all types of people. And at first I was like, God, why did you put me through all this? Like, why? Like, I used to hear other people's stories. I'm like, okay, you know. And I used to compare, like, okay, their story's not as bad as my story. Like, why did I go through all of this?
Yeah.
Why did I have to have this journey? But
Hmm.
later you realize that his hand was in it all. Like, his hand was in it from the beginning. Because sometimes we get mad at God. Because I'm not gonna lie to you, I was upset with God. Okay, it's like, why did he do this to me? Like, he allowed this to happen. But not realizing that he didn't put me through it for no reason. Like, there's a reason behind it. And one of the reasons was for me to write this book, Unapologetically Resilient. So,
Yeah. Now on the shirt that I'm wearing tonight, it
uh-huh.
says it says my
Imperfections
imperfection for
for
God's
perfect
perfect
will. I
will.
love it. I
You
love
know, and I
it.
said, I'm gonna make sure I put this shirt on tonight because a lot of people don't realize that everything that we go through is for a reason,
Mhm.
right? And we sometimes we make the choice and send ourselves through those things. And some things they're not of our own doing, right? But
Mhm.
they are allowed for a reason, right?
Right.
And the
Yes.
word of God tells us that God's not going to take us through anything that we can't bear, right?
Right.
It when we begin to get the understanding, of it. And I know, I'm saying this here, and a lot of people are going to say, you know what, this should not have happened to me. This, I'm just not going to accept
Mhm.
something like this happening to me, that it's going to be for a perfect will of God, right? But it is.
Right.
It is. Because again, as we said before, somebody else is going through this thing right now that
Yeah.
needs to hear this, that needs to read this book, that need to touch somebody, that has been through that same thing. So they'll realize that what I can get through this.
Yes, absolutely. When we take the us out of it and we realize that our purpose is for other people, right? Because a lot of
That's
people
it.
forget that our purpose is not for us; it's for other. So when we take ourselves out of it, we're able to detach our negative thoughts, our egos, our guilt, our shame, all of that from it because it's not for us. It's to fulfill God's will, His purpose for our lives. So that's what I had to do. Literally, when I was listening to God being obedient, I had to remind myself of that. It's not about me. Take me out of it.
Yeah.
Put him in all of it. In all of it. So yeah.
Yeah, and that's right. I was talking to somebody about that the other day. I was telling them, I say, this thing is not about you, and
Right.
you until you realize it, you're not gonna realize your purpose. Why God placed you here on
Mhm.
this earth when until you take me out of it. You got to take yourself out of it, but only bring yourself in for the example. Of what God made you for this reason. And
Absolutely.
I'm had to find another word for the way to say that, because I don't like to say the way he made you, because a lot of people, it still get a negative,
Yeah. Yeah.
vibe from that. But we have to make sure that we begin to understand the purpose and begin to let it manifest, what
Yeah.
God, would desire for us to do. Now, going into, from the trauma, and then you got to come into relationships
Oh man.
and then you gotta then not being healed from that and going into relationship.
Oh.
That's a trauma within itself,
Oh my God. You don't realize who you really are until you are in a relationship. I listen to so many people, they say, I'm my best self when I'm single. And I'm like, no, that's not really true. Is that you're not challenged when you're single. And when you're in a relationship, oh my gosh. So, I was in a relationship and I would be like, why am I so angry? Like, why am I just so like ticked off? I want to fight, like literally want to fight. And because it was what I grew up with. I grew up with domestic violence. I grew up with the fighting, the arguing, and that. So that's why I learned how that's how I learned how to respond. Those were my response mechanisms. So in that I learned, okay, this is not what I need. I need to change that. I need to work on those things. And it took a while, but I'm way better than I was in my 20s.
Yeah,
So
and you know what? And what you're saying that is you find out a lot about people, especially when they're young,
yeah.
when they're so angry. You think that you start. I think my thing is, like, I have a little niece that she's angry all the doggone time, right? So I'm always talking to her, because that's always, because that always go through my mind. God, is something going on with her? Let
Right.
me make sure. Let me talk to her.
Yeah.
Come on over here. Let's talk. Let me dissect this thing. Why
And
you so
I love,
angry? Why you want to attack and do that, because that's a sign,
yes, and I love
right
that you
there.
said that because a lot of times people ask what's wrong with you, but they never ask what happened to you. And I think people need to
Mhm.
start doing that with children because a lot
Mhm.
of times those anger responses aren't coming just from anywhere. It's either environmental, like, or things happen. So it's good to really dig deep and communicate, like, what is really going on.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And you
I
you you
respect that.
have to, yeah, because when I read that in here, I thought about that, how I'm always, talking to my nieces, my nephews, my grandkids, just saying, okay, you did this, okay, tell me what's going on. Why is this happening? Did there's something going on? Did this happen or did that happen? You can't like how would they say, like, step around it?
Right.
Most people say you can't pussyfoot around it.
Right.
You
Right.
got to
Right.
make sure that you hit it right on the target.
Right.
When you're talking to people, because this is real. A
Right.
lot of people say, "Well, oh, that didn't happen." That, oh, I don't went too far, but I'm going to go there anyway. That old generation thing.
Yeah. Yep.
Of like, this is it has happened through generation, but the generation of
Yes.
silence
Exactly.
is the worst thing in the world.
Yes, yes, yep, yep. And I came through that generation of silence. So, me talking about what I went through, it did cause a little rift, because my mom was like, "Why you putting business out there?" And I'm like, "Listen, I had to put your business out there because literally this, this is what I saw, through you. We learn our relationships from our parents, and I didn't blame her, but I didn't blame her for the negative things that were associated. But a lot of those things I looked at, like how to be treated, in relationships was the example. So we got past that.
Right,
That part,
right.
yeah, it's definitely generational. That's why we have to be mindful of what we are, allowing in our homes, because it doesn't only affect us; it affects everyone about around us. So yeah,
And and it's odd how even if your children don't know,
right.
it seems like it affect them, and sometimes it's like a domino effect.
It is right.
That this happened to me, and then doggone, now it's happening to my child, right? They don't even know anything about it. And
Right.
you know what I thought about, though, Lorraine? My thought about that is that it's because no one voiced it, nobody opened their mouth and said anything, so now it's just like a trickling thing. And what I did with I have 3 boys, and I'm so open with them, sometimes they don't know what's going to come out of my mouth. you know
That's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome.
You
Right.
don't know, because I think about, I haven't been the abuse. I haven't been abused, right? But I had a child when I was I was a teenage mother, right? But that was out of my own doing, right? But the thing about it is that I saw things. When I was coming up, I was very quiet, right? And I was raised beside my grandparents, and they had a little hill in the front of their house, and I would just sit out in the front of the house, right? And
Mhm.
kids would just come and talk to me, right? So I knew all of the secrets,
Wow.
in the neighborhood.
Right,
And
right.
so my thing was is that, oh my God, I'm a child myself, and all of this is happening. So what
Wow.
do I do? I say, no, I'm not gonna let stuff like this happen to my family. I'm not gonna let it be a generational
No
thing.
thing. Right.
Where
Right.
I'm gonna open my mouth and I'm gonna say something. And I talk to my children just like I'm talking to adults,
Right.
because they need to know. They need to know what's going on, and
And
don't make it a
a
family
general
secret. Say,
exactly. Yeah. And that's why I talk about we have the control to stop the generational curses from happening. Right? Just being like you just said, being open, talking. Like, hey, I don't want this to happen to you because I've been through this. Um, and just not being afraid to share, you know. Just like you said, having that hush mouth, it just causes more and more. And sometimes, like it doesn't have to be seen. Like it's happening because through, like literally, our ancestors went through it. They never stopped it, and it's going to go into someone stops the cycle, and you have the power within yourself to stop that cycle.
yeah, and it's so crazy, because I never did understand that part about, you don't even know what happened to this person
Yes.
again, but
Right.
then it's happening, to you. And we did a when I first started, I do this thing, bridging through conversations, right? And the
Hmm.
very first thing we did was generational curses, right? And
Right.
one of the guests on there said that you have a choice, if you decide to go into that area where the generation of curse, right? And things. But then my thought was is that some people don't even know what the generational thing
They
was.
don't know what it is, right? Because no one has talked about it. But they just see themselves in life experience and stuff, right?
Right,
So that's when you have to start getting in tune with yourself. Like, okay, why am I experiencing this? And then when you get close with God, you get to really listen to His voice, and He's telling you that
right.
this is what you need to do.
Right, right. So you have to really be, you got to really be, intact with that,
Yeah, yes,
because the universe always tells us things, right?
yes. And
We
people
have
don't
to
listen.
know that the universe is always speaking to us,
Right.
and we need to be willing to listen to,
Yes.
to what it's saying, because we do have a purpose in life, and our purpose is not just to set on what we've been through or what we know.
Right.
Yep.
Absolutely. Right.
What we
Right.
know. We need to open our mouth and say something.
Right.
So, okay, so you talked about okay, with the relationship. So, what made you say you always been in church, always been in church.
Yes.
But
Yes.
what was it that brought you to the point of the true healing in your spiritual life?
You know what? It has always been a journey. Like it has always been in the background. So I would, pull away, but I always felt like he was calling me. Right. And it's like,
Right.
why he would always be calling me, like calling me closer and closer, closer to God. And I know you read my background. I have a lot of variety. So I grew up in. I went to Catholic school.
It's crazy, girl.
Catholic school. Then I would go to Baptist church, and then I still had that background because my family's Haitian. So I would grow up hearing the stories about like voodoo. So like my spiritual aspects were like just crazy, right? In the full sense,
Yes. Yeah, when
right?
I read that, girl, I was like, God, how did she keep herself together with all these different things in her?
Yeah, because I always believed that there was like one God, like, and just in like the patterns and things that would happen in my life, like him when he would tell me things and then it would happen. It was like if
Right.
you when you listen to his voice and you see what his words and see his words come to pass, that's what pushes that for me. That's what pushed me closer to God. And I feel like a lot of times some people don't have that gift of hearing His voice, or they're not close enough to Him to hear His voice and then see that thing come to pass. But just me having that and hearing Him and see, okay, God said this and it's happening. Wow, like how can you not love Him? Like how can you not love God? Like I'm such an imperfect human being. I've been through so much. I've done so much, but He still want me close to Him. Like how can you not love this man? Like so. Yeah. so
I know it.
so that's what kind of helped me and pushed me to him. And he will redirect me. Like I was at this point where, like I said, I was talking to psychics and he was like, "Oh no, you only be talking to psychics."
Well, sometimes we get there because, I don't, I'm not going to say everybody because everybody, no, I'm going to say everybody, they just won't admit it, right? Have been there in that place in their life
Right.
where
Yeah.
you're going through something, you don't know what God would desire for you to do, so you
Right.
go to all lengths, just to see what God wants. You think you're hearing something, and then you think maybe that's just me thinking that, right?
Right.
So
Right.
then you try to get a true understanding, and you think that they're connected to God too. The disciples might be connected to God too, we just don't know. I don't know, but I
Right.
want a prophet to come to me and say something to get
Right.
me out of this area, in our life. But how did you deal with it with the Haitian though religion? Because I'm a believer in, like, I just like to study all
Oh
religions,
yeah, I'm the
right?
same way. Yeah, I'm the
Yeah,
same
I
way.
just I just love it. So how did you like sep- do the separation or bring it together, of all of the religions? Because you know what, really and truly, all of them could benefit you.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah. If you use it correctly, I feel that way. I feel I still wear like my little. I sometimes wear rosaries, and I still, that's more Catholic. And I feel like I integrate most, except the voodoo. I don't mess with that. Just growing up, just listening to the stories of people utilizing it. Some people utilize it for. They say they utilize it for good, but just people like utilizing it to harm their family members or just to get money or because they're jealous of their life. I don't agree with that. So I stick away from it. And then you hear about, the karma that they get from trying to harm their families. I'm good. But like, why? Like, why would I? I'm good on that. So that's what's easy for me.
But see, there's
I'm
a
good.
positive, the positive part of it, is good. And that's what I enjoy the earth,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
in voodoo, they enjoy the earth,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
and people, but the word voodoo, it just seemed like it just scared people off,
it's like a
and
big stigma,
yeah.
and I feel like initially it wasn't utilized for, I feel like people turn a lot of things to perversion, right? So I feel like probably the initial intention wasn't for perversion, but people
Mhm.
shifted because, like I said in my book, it's not unlikely for them to pray to a cross and then do their rituals, right? So they integrate that as well. But I feel like people use it for the wrong things. Like, and initially it was used to heal people that were
Mhm.
sick,
Yeah, see.
things like that. But now it's like, okay, it's like, "Well, I don't like you. I don't like you. I want your life. I'm going to use this." I
Yeah.
don't want that. Like, I like God. I don't want the bad karma on me. I'm good. I don't want to do.
I know that's right. Now I've heard some stories of it now, especially
Yes.
from, in the South Carolina area and stuff.
Yeah.
My parents told me some things about that. But okay, so with your religion and it's was a part that really like brought you through, right?
Yes.
So what about the setbacks when you knew that you were on the road, to go in the direction that you should be going in, but then the setbacks.
Right. So this, oh my gosh, so the setbacks were just terrible. But you know what? I feel like he still had his hands on me because I remember when I got fired from my job when I was pregnant with my daughter, right? When I had the worst treatment. And I was just so down on myself. Like, how am I going to do all this? I'm a single mom. How am I going to do all this? And I heard his voice. He said, "It's all going to work for your good." And I know that wasn't my voice because I just got fired.
Mhm.
I was at the lowest place in my
Yeah.
life. I was talking like just awful to myself. So
Hmm.
his voice said, just literally, it's all gonna work out for your good. And then literally, in this like a couple months, I made double than I was making at that one job. So like his hand, like he wouldn't leave me there too long, but it was a lot of adversities that I had to go through.
Yeah. Yeah,
Right.
sometimes it's like that. And sometimes we think that it's because of what we went through, right?
Right.
But again, these trials come to make us strong. It's just
Yeah.
another stepping stone,
Yes.
for God to get us where He would desire, for us to be. But again, we have to understand. We got to
Yeah.
understand that to be able to move forward. So, what
Yeah.
did you mean about the birds that flock together? What made you
Oh
bring
man,
that chapter in?
I
Was that
had
chapter 6?
I had to bring that in because a lot of times, and I want to say I had church hurt, right? So I was hanging around folks, that kind of pushed me away from it because it's hard to associate the people from God, right? So we blame the church hurt, we blame God for the church hurt, but it's people, and we got to realize that who like when people are sick, they go to church and they go to the hospital, right? So
Mhm,
we have
mhm.
to realize that we're on a journey together, and that these people are looking for healing too. So when you go to church, you got to really focus on you and God. So don't allow these people that are around you to push you away from God. So in that I just learned so much about myself. Stop allowing anybody in your circle, right? Stop being
Amen, girl.
stop talking to everybody. And I just learned so much. And I mean, who you associate with really shapes you. It really molds you, and it really literally can push you down or build you up. So I'm picky about my flock. Birds of a feather flock together.
They most definitely do, and
They
you must
do.
definitely have to be aware of that. That's why I always pray for a discerning spirit. God, just give me a
Yes,
discerning spirit, and
yes,
so I can make sure that I flock with the right ones,
absolutely,
and
absolutely.
stuff. So, what made the self actualization in that chapter? Why did you bring that in there? In the
I had to
birds
bring
that flock together.
Yes, I feel like okay, so self-actualization, that's our highest self, right? If we could reach that, that's our higher self. But if we walk, if we're walking around with the wrong type of folk, that will pull us down. And I heard someone say, they say like when you walk into a room, the only people that you don't see yourself as you walk into a room. People around you see you. So they can see that you have a calling on your life. They can see that you are an amazing individual. And a lot of people that are insecure about that will try to pull you down. And they literally will stop you from reaching your self-actualization, reaching your higher self, if you allow them to hold you down. If you allow them to pull you down. So you have to be strong within yourself and let these people go. Let these folks go.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what you put in your next chapter. Let go. Is that
Yes.
let go? Just for the y'all go get this book, unapologetically resilient. Go get
Okay.
this book. We're not going to tell you the whole book, but What? So why did you put that in there?
You know what? Because I had to let go, right? At some point I had to let go. Stop I had to stop let go of what happened to me. Stop harboring on that, right? I had to let go of the pain. I had to let go of the trauma, like just reliving that trauma. I had to let go of people that weren't right for me. In order to let go, just you have to let go, literally let go, let God. And I had to let go in my journey. Let go of bad relationships, let go of like the negative things that I was telling to myself. I just so much I had to just literally the weight was lighter when I started to let go of just things that weren't for me. Um,
Right,
yeah.
right. Now we do know how to carry loads.
Oh yes, we do. Yep. We'll, you know what? We'll try to leave it at the altar. They said leave it at the altar, give it to God, and then we'll pick it right back up. As soon as we go to the altar and leave it to God, we just pick it right back up. We're still worried about it when we go home or we're on our job. You know, it's hard
Yeah,
to let go. It's human nature to like hold on to things because we want to feel like we have that control. But like literally letting go, it gives us that freedom and just
mm,
trusting Him. Because if He brought you out of what He brought you out before, He's gonna bring you out again. So just
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
That's Todd Tribbett. If he did it before, he'll do it again,
do
huh?
it again. Yeah.
And he will, but again, we seem to want to hold on it like it's a comfort blanket. What's that
Yeah.
word? Not a comfort blanket. Yeah, a comfort blanket
Right.
that we would use, just to put on us if we start going through something, boom, then we bring back, our past and stuff. And I'm thinking that's the backwardest
That's a
thing.
backwards thing. Yeah, we bring up our past when we want to let go. Right. You know what? And also, sometimes it's a comfort, like for people, like just to really, really hold on to that because they're so used to talking about the same story over and over again, over and over again. It's a comfort. So if they stop talking about that, what are they going to talk about? So it just, but they'll realize that that's just putting them there. You know, it's stopping them from propelling to where they're supposed to be.
Right. It's just putting a stopper in you
Right.
instead of moving on. Now, you quoted one of my buddies in here, bless his heart, I Claire. When I think about that he's not here anymore, it just really hurt my heart because his book was one of the first books that I read.
Is it Miles Monroe?
Um,
That is my mentor. You know what? I found out he passed away after I found him. I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, so he's my mentor that he doesn't even know me, but he's my mentor. I love that
don't
man.
even
Like he's
know it.
amazing.
He don't even know that we exist and that
Yeah,
we all in his book, all in his business. And
right. He's
now he's gone.
amazing.
That thing really got me because when I really got into him, then
Right.
not too long ago after it, he died. But
Right.
that was one of my very first books. Living in Your Purpose,
Okay. Yeah.
from
Yeah.
Dr. Monroe Miles, right? And
Yeah.
that was and when I read your book and I saw that you had quoted him in there, I'm thinking, you know, reading him and listening to him will make you move, you
It
know,
really would. It
to a
really
place, of purpose, right? Because it's just like he just slapped you back and forth,
yeah.
because he give you reality, right?
Right. Right.
On, you holding on to these things and not moving forth in the purpose that God has designed us for. You're going to be one of the statistics of the most expensive place in the world, in the grave, and your purpose going to be, in there.
Right, right. Yeah, yeah. And then
You know,
he's just a testament that, even in his grave, he is still living out his purpose. I found him after he passed. So
yeah.
he changed my life in so many ways. So I had to quote him. Like he was just yeah, he pushed me in so many ways. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's good. I'm trying to find that quote. I can't remember because I wanted to read it because I try to remember all of the other stuff. But since I brought the book, I'm gonna say the quote. But
okay.
let me see, what was it? I think it was in the I should have pulled the page back on it so I knew where it was. But anyway, now I just want to ask you about your getting out of the bubble. I think
Yes.
that's where
Oh
it
God.
is.
That's one of my favorite chapters, getting out that bubble. When we're in our bubble, right? All we see is like ourselves, what's around us, right? We don't realize that there's 7 billion people in this world, and we allow our bubble and our world views to stagger us. We let the
Yeah.
people closest to us stagger us, and not realizing that those people that's close to us really don't have the tools to get us out of what we need to get out of, right? So I talk about the bubble. I talk about the acronym bubble. Let me get my bubble book out. I mean, I love this topic.
You
Yes,
see, we got to pull out our books,
pull
okay?
it out.
Yeah. Because
Be
while you
bold.
telling us about the bubble, I'm gonna find
Yes,
that Miles Monroe
okay.
thing.
Yes, like
So
you have.
it's a book. It's a oh you have an acronym.
Yeah, it's an acronym
Wait.
for bubble. It's
Yeah. Oh
be
yeah, that's
bold.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, be bold. Step out and become your true self, and be okay with uncomfortability, right? Because where you want to be, where you want to go, it's going to be uncomfortable to get there. Like one of my first speaking engagements, I was so scared. I was like, oh my gosh, just the thought of speaking in front of hundreds of people. But if I
Yeah.
didn't push myself out there and put myself out there, I wouldn't known that I would have done well. And then believe is the next letter, and then break negative thoughts and cycles. The thoughts about yourself and the thoughts of other people other people that may associate with you, and then
Mm-hmm.
love. Love yourself enough to know that you are worth it. Like a lot of people are stuck in this bubble because they don't love themselves enough to understand that they are worth it. And then E is even though life even though life taught you that success is not possible, like it is possible. Like you can make it to the other side. So that's my little acronym for bubble.
Yeah, I like that
Yeah, yeah,
even
even
though,
though.
nothing out here is perfect, right?
Right, right,
So just step on out,
right.
because it's worth it. It's
Absolutely.
worth you stepping out of the bubble and seeing what life has to offer you and what you have to offer life,
Yep, yep. What you have to offer life, right? Yep.
because a
Stop
lot
listening
of times,
to naysayers.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Stop listening to those naysayers, those people that are telling you that this is a ridiculous idea. Like your dream is ridiculous. The dream killers. Stop listening to those people. And sadly, a lot of those people are the people that are around us. But we
Yeah.
have to realize that we don't need them to get to where we're going. All we do is need ourselves and God. God's going to take us to where we need to go. Yeah,
God's going to do it. He's going to do it
He's going to
for
do
us,
it. Hmm.
regardless of, and you know what I thought, and even in that book, the Living in Your Purpose, it talks about how even if you don't do it, the grave took what you were supposed to do, for the world. Somebody
Right.
else going to do it. It's
It's going
going
to
to
go to
go
somebody
forth.
else. Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's going to go forth because anything that God has placed out there, anything that God has put out into the atmosphere is going to happen.
You know what?
You
That is
know,
so true. You ever hear those stories where like I had this idea and then it popped up on TV? Well, you should have stepped on it when God gave you that idea. He put it in you so you can use it, but you
yeah,
didn't use it, so he's gonna give it to somebody else. So that is such a great point.
that is so true. I did an interview with Elijah Hakim. He's a spiritual teacher, and he talked about a lot of that, how you, in other words, you're a part of the universe. So if you're a part of the universe, I'm just paraphrasing again what he say, just in case, you're a part of the universe. That means you have something to do, so do it.
Right.
You
Right.
are exist. I am, he said, I exist, and you
Yeah.
exist here for a reason, not to just be in your bubble. You
Right.
exist here to pop that bubble and step out and
Right.
do what needs to be, done, out in the world that God would desire for you to do. But
Absolutely.
and regardless of, what has happened to you. Now, a lot of people can't come out of that bubble because again, they just can't face, what happened to them because again, they think that they're unique in it, that they're the only ones,
That's been
that
going.
it happened to.
Hmm.
And if we don't have enough of people being honest,
Right.
about who they are and, what they went through and stuff like that, we're going to have a lot of people that's going to go into the negative direction of the
Right.
trauma that they went through because they
Hmm.
don't have any positive people out there saying
Absolutely.
that this is what you went through this and this is what you can do with what you went through.
Absolutely. You are absolutely right. Like our support system is everything. Like if I didn't have the support that I had, I could have been the other way, or people speaking life into me, people believing in me, telling me, like my mom telling me you could be anything you want to be. That kind of pushed me and propelled me too. Like even though I went through, being I talked about being left back in kindergarten,
Yeah, yeah,
because English was my second language, or just like really being down on myself, but also just having the people pushing me saying you're going to make it, you're going to get to college, you're going to do this, and
hmm
in that I was able, and that's why it's so important to, be cautious or be picky about your flock, be picky about the people that are around you, because you can't just have anybody speaking life into you. Um, because literally people can speak, literally the things that they speak into you can speak death into your goals, your dreams, and your life. So it's so imperative that we are picky about who we allow in our ear gates.
Hmm. And that's true, and that's why we have to continuously tell our children that, that you need to evaluate you need to evaluate your friends.
Yes. Yep.
I mean, from the top, from the head to the
Everything.
foot, you need to evaluate them. I was just talking to one of my granddaughters the other day, and she was saying, Grandma, I'll be in um, middle school next year. And so my heart dropped, right?
Hey.
And
Oh.
I said, remember what we taught you? And then she just went on with it. She said, I'm the head, not the tail. I'm the, what is it? The barrier, not the lender. I'm a leader, not a
I love
follower, and stuff
that.
like that, right?
Right.
And
Right.
and when I said, what is that? I always said it. I said, what does that mean? What is that, right? Because now she's going into a new environment, a new group of people, right? So you need to know yourself.
Yeah.
You need to know who you are, and
Right.
then when you go out. So now, what we need to start telling our children, we need to start teaching our children is that yes, you are unique. You are
Right.
unique in who God made you, right?
Right.
And we want you to stay that way until he manifests in you what he would have for you to do, right? And that's
Absolutely.
in all areas of abuse. So then they will be able to speak on, anything that happens to them, right? Because
Right.
I'm always the one to say, okay, what about this? Okay, did anybody,
Right.
what about this? Do you know
Yes.
the parts of your body, and stuff? We
Absolutely.
need to start being real,
Right.
with our children, because when I was coming up, didn't nobody talk about any of this stuff, right?
Right.
I had to
Right.
learn on my own. That's why I was a teenage mother, right?
Right.
But now we had to give our children an opportunity to learn their self, right? And be able to grow up with learning themselves and then be able to evolve out into the world, from learning themselves and from knowing, having knowledge, right? The word of
Right.
God says we don't know anything because of lack of knowledge.
Like,
We don't need nobody filling our brains up with knowledge,
right.
right? So we have to make sure that we fill our children up with the knowledge so they'll know how to use what they use. Not
Absolutely.
only fill it up, but also teach them how to use it.
Absolutely. Because when they're not, I'm sorry, you kind of froze there. But yeah, but when they're not when we're not filling them with knowledge, they're learning from people. So it's like sheep leading the sheep, right? People that lack knowledge, so they're learning all types of stuff from just random people, and that's what we don't want.
Yeah,
Just
that's what we
random.
don't want.
That's not what we don't want. Just random people, negative friends, coming in and just speaking nonsense into our children. So that is so important. Like as early as we can, just instill in them.
Yeah,
And I love that what she said. Like at such a young age, she understands the importance of leadership, like being the leader. Don't allow these people to turn you into what they want, mold you into what they want you to mold. Yeah,
that's
into what
it.
they want to be molded to. Yeah,
You the leader, you the chief. I
right.
say you the chief.
You the
And I
chief.
say to use it in a positive way. We also got to
Right.
tell them that because we have bullies.
Right.
Use your leadership skills in a positive way, to
Absolutely.
help somebody else.
Exactly.
Those are the things, again, that we got to teach our people. Look, you're not doing it for yourself. This is not about you. This is for
Right.
other people also, right?
Middle
But,
school is the
since
tough.
they're young, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
middle school is the toughest too. In that, yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah. That's why I started having trouble with my children, my boys in middle school. I said, God, what in
middle
the world?
tough. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So,
funny.
okay, now your last chapter is resilience, right?
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
where Miles Monroe is,
Oh, that's where he's
right?
at. Okay.
Yeah, it says my mentor, Dr. Miles Monroe, once stated that a trial will come, but we don't need to be afraid of the trials. We need to get ready for them.
Yes, 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 yes. That's one of my favorite quotes. And also, I talk about the eagle a little bit. The eagle's my favorite
Yeah,
bird
that's
because
yeah, that's up under there too.
up in there
That's
too.
see
Yeah.
see the markings on that.
Because
That's on there too. I like that eagle too,
yes,
girl.
they're like the smartest birds. They prepare for the storm. Like they know the storm is coming, so instead of running from it, they prepare. So like we know more bad stuff is going to happen. We can't run from it, but just like my Dr. Miles Monroe said, prepare for it. Don't allow it to have an adverse effect on you, and that's how you build your resilient muscle.
That's right.
You build that resilient muscle by being prepared for trials and knowing that you're going to be able to bounce back. I mean, what's
Yeah.
the yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
love
because we're not by ourselves. I think let me see, your last verse in here. It talks about we are afflicted. This is Second Corinthians 4, 8 and 9, 8 to 9, right? It
mhm.
says we are afflicted in every way, but not crushed, perplexed, but not driven to despair, persecuted, but not forsaken, struck down, but not destroyed. And
Yes.
that is awesome. I'm glad you ended like that
Yes.
because it back up every from chapter one all the way down,
Yep.
in what where we need to be and what we need to focus on. That these things are gonna happen,
Right.
but we're not torn. We're not torn down.
Right.
We
Right.
still have the strength and the backing to continue to move on to be resilient.
Absolutely. Thank you. I mean, I was listening to I forgot her name. What is her name? She's amazing. But she said she was talking about in her one of her conferences. She said wet wood is still usable. You can still use wet wood, right?
Right.
Even though you've been through so many things, you're still usable. You're not destroyed. You're not just God is still you still can fulfill your purpose. You can still live out your whole life's purpose no matter what you've been through. Literally no matter what you've been through. So that's a
And
true
that
resilience.
that is
That's
that
true.
is that's why our imperfections are
Right.
used for God's perfect will, because
Yes.
none of us gonna be perfect. We're just not perfect people. We're gonna go through things, we're gonna do things, and all of it, each and everything that we go through in life, God turns around for our good.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
No?
You sure do.
Yeah, He turned it around for our good. Because
I'm a
see, look where you
testimony.
are now, doctor.
Thank you.
you know he always turned around and he make it, for his, perfect will. And Lorraine, I really do thank you for this. I'm glad that I'm gonna have to get Brittany, back on here, because Brittany is the one that introduced me to
Yes, she
you.
did.
and
She's a
uh and I really do thank you for this. I'm holding this book up because I want people to see this book, and to go back and do the replay on this, and support our new authors. This is a very, very good, relevant book for now, that every household need to have this book. So guys, please go out and support Lorraine, and get her on your show, and let her tell you about her book, and keep her out in the public's eyes, because somebody else out there is going through what Lorraine has went through in here, and they need to learn how to build resilience. Okay, you got any last words?
I just want to thank you again for having me. This was such a pleasure. I still get shaken up talking about some of the things. I didn't go into it in depth, but you guys get the book and you guys will really, really see the rawness
That's the
and
reason why you didn't go into the depth. You want them to
yeah,
buy the book.
the book, you guys. I promise you, it's going to change your life. I've gotten so many emails and messages about this book, and it's going to change your life. And hopefully, push someone to tell their story. So, thank
Yes,
you guys.
yes,
Yeah,
yes. All right. Thank you so much. And come back again when you finish your book tour.
I sure
Because you
will.
are gonna do, huh?
I'm
Come
doing book
back
tour. I'm
again
gonna
when you
be in
finish your book.
Georgia May 1st, so I'm excited about that. Yay!
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I was telling my friend Elijah, because we're supposed to be doing this three-man panel thing, right? And I was
Awesome.
telling him, I said, I have to get my authors while they're on their book tour. I got to get them before they get out there,
Yes.
and I can't get them. So I have to get them first. And then we'll get the panel together. Before I came on, he messaged me and was telling me about the other panel member. I said, well, when I get off of my live, then I'm gonna call you, but I gotta make sure I get my authors out
Oh,
here first. But Lorraine, thank you so very much, because you did not have to come on here. And I really do appreciate you for coming on. And believe I will get you back on here again. Okay.
that. Thank you so much. This was a pleasure. Thank you so much,
You're
Diane.
welcome. And keep spreading the word, okay, sweetie?
I sure will. I sure will.
All righty. Be blessed. Bye
All right.
bye. All righty, guys. Look at that. That was a great, great, great interview. I just thank her so very much for coming out. And guys, please, please, please support Lorraine in her ventures, her book, Unapologetically Resilient. Guys, I'm telling y'all, this is a great book. And just looking at her, you wouldn't think that she'd been through anything, but thank God we don't look nothing like what we've been through. God has He always bring us out as pure gold. He said it in His Word that if we come out with Him on our mind, that He'll make things right for us in a straight way and begin to set us out, in our purpose for Him. So, guys, please, please, please go out and support, support, support. Okay, I'm gonna get a little bit of announcements out here, and let me do a little bit of announcements. I'm gonna put her book out here again. Okay, just this just disregard the time that she's already been on here, but I just want to put her book out here again. And guys, please go out and support, support, support this young author, unapologetically resilient, a guide to getting through trauma and living your full potential. Please support, support. Go to Amazon and get that book, okay? TC knows some things, but TC don't know everything. Transformational speaker and mentor, doing the things she knows to do best. Okay, and doing on spot conversations. Believe me, guys, you will enjoy the conversations that she have out there. They'll be relevant for what you're going through, or your friend, somebody that you know may be going through that thing. Okay, and she also owns a t-shirt printing business. TikTok at I Create, I Print, I Press. Facebook at TC Knows Brand, IG at I Creation Custom Prints, website www.tcknowsbrands.com. Please go out and support this entrepreneur in her t-shirts, and also go onto her live. Go out and follow her on Facebook. TC knows. TC don't know everything, but she knows some things, and she'll give you a good conversation. All right. Residential garbage recycling, being cleaning and sanitizing. I declare war on garbage and recycling bins. Waste and rubbish removal. Okay, $5 per bin plus monthly specials. Call today, 980-999-1237. Jave Professional Cleaning Services. And she also has a professional home and office cleaning. Also, please, please go out. This is another new business that has started through the pandemic. While you're sitting around, you think of something, God has something for you to do. And this is what God had for her to do. Guys, go out on her website, Jave Cleaning at gmail.com. And again, call 980-999-1237. Please, please go out and support this new business. To serve with love. Okay, come on out. There it is. To serve with love. Welcome 1010 Vision Partners. For as little as $10 per month, become a 1010 Vision Partner today. As a token of our appreciation, you will receive a partner welcome kit. Additionally, you will receive quarterly updates, relevant news, and timely inspirational messages. God blesses us when we are willing to be a blessing to others. He calls us to share His grace and love within our communities and the world. It's our mission to help those in need wherever they may be. Your commitment to monthly giving allows us to feed the hungry, house the homeless, clothe the naked, and serve with love, thereby doing God's will here on earth. Please partner together with To Serve with Love. To Serve with Love is a nonprofit organization, so all of your donations is tax deductible. You can go to the website www.toservewithlove.org and make your donations. Again, know that it's a nonprofit organization and your donations are tax deductible. All righty. Season and beyond. Enjoying life to the brim. Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Just had a session tonight with a great up and coming author that wrote Unapologetically Resilient. Um, please, come out and join us on Wednesday nights. Topics will be love and self, health segments, beauty. Beauty begins the moment you decide to be yourself, and fashion and DIY. We're just living our life to the brim and having a good time, and having individuals to come out and talk about what they do when it comes down to love and self and health and beauty and DIY and fashion. Thank you so very much. All righty. Thank you guys for coming out and listening tonight to serve season and beyond and enjoying life to the brim and listening to the speaker tonight, Lorraine Labont White. Okay, with Unapologetically Resilient. Okay, please go out on Amazon and buy her book. It will be relevant to what's going on in this world today and somebody around you or you yourself. Okay,